We all know Isaac Newton, the apple, the prism, the laws of motion, the genius who revealed the universe's secrets, but that's only half the story. Behind the public scientist was a secret Newton, a man obsessed with prophecy, alchemy, and the fate of humanity. He believed he was chosen by God to decode the ultimate destiny of the world. Newton spent more time on ancient scriptures than on science, writing over 1 million words on theology and prophecy. For him, physics was God's language, and history was a script with a final act, Armageddon. He saw the universe as a divine clock ticking toward a preordained moment of judgment. Newton wasn't just the father of modern science, he was the architect of our modern anxieties, convinced he'd found the blueprint for the end. The age of reason, it turns out, was deeply entangled with faith. The man who gave us the tools to build our world also believed he'd read the script for its end. Newton saw the world as a stage play, written by a divine author, and he, Isaac Newton, was the first to read the stage directions for the final act. How did Newton reconcile the math of gravity with the prophecies of apocalypse? For him, there was no contradiction. The universe was a clock, and God, the clockmaker. Newton believed the same divine order governed both the heavens and human history. The Bible to him was a coded message, a cipher containing humanity's future. He studied ancient texts, learned Hebrew, and searched for the laws of prophecy as rigorously as he did for gravity. Newton saw history as a series of divinely ordained epochs, each calculable like the return of a comet. He wasn't a mystic, he was a mathematician applying logic to the fate of the world. The corruption of the early church and the rise of false religion were to him key parts of this prophetic timeline. Science and scripture were two sides of the same quest for truth. For Newton, the universe was a single, coherent thought in the mind of God. To solve one was to glimpse the other. In secret manuscripts, Newton mapped out the end of days with mathematical certainty. He interpreted biblical prophecies as symbols of real-world powers destined to clash in a final global conflict. Newton predicted a great war centered in the Middle East, preceded by the return of the Jewish people to their homeland. He saw the rise and fall of nations as steps in a divine timeline leading to Armageddon. This was not wild speculation, but the calculated work of the era's greatest scientific mind. Newton even pointed to the 21st century as the window for these events. The return of Israel, the rise of global alliances, and the spread of information, all to him were signs. The world would be set for a final confrontation. The actors would take their places and the last act would begin. Look at today's world through Newton's eyes. In 1948, Israel was reborn just as Newton predicted, unlocking the final prophetic sequence. The Middle East became the crucible for global conflict, with great powers drawn in. The United States, Israel, Iran, and Saudi Arabia, modern players echoing ancient archetypes. Newton saw these alignments as the gathering of forces for the final act. The conflicts, proxy wars, and nuclear anxieties fit his prophetic framework. He understood the dynamics of empire, faith, and territory. The current landscape of fragile alliances and simmering hostilities is a chilling reflection of Newton's calculations. The struggle for dominance in the Middle East is not just politics, it's prophecy unfolding. For Newton, we are living in the world he foresaw. The stage is set. In Newton's vision, peace is only an intermission. Any ceasefire or treaty is a temporary pause before the storm. He believed deep-rooted conflicts couldn't be resolved by diplomacy alone. Moments of calm are deceptive, lulls before the ultimate clash. The collapse of fragile peace would trigger a war beyond all others. Armageddon. Nations would be drawn in one by one into a global conflagration. This, Newton believed, was the Great Tribulation, a final test for humanity. Are we living in one of Newton's predicted lulls, the quiet before the storm? As we navigate today's world, we must ask, are we shaping our destiny or following a script first deciphered by Isaac Newton?